As a sequel/remake to 2017 Serial Cleaners Plural is quite the step up in both visuals and gameplay. The simple sprite work of Carver Digital's originals is replaced with detailed environments and much more complex level design, and the result is a clever and turning yet intentionally paced game taking the form of a series of flashbacks and set pieces throughout the 17th, 18th, and the game's present days and 19th setting. Serial Cleaners follows the fortunes of a group of crime sense cleaners led by Bob, the Winston Wolf-like protagonist of the first game working. With Psycho Hell Haka, Erin, and young protege Lottie, Bob recounts his most famous clean-ups and asks the teams to recount theirs, including his requirement of each of them. All missions have the same basic setup. A crime has happened, there's blood bodies and evidence all over the place, and you need to clean it up. In almost every instance, you will need to do it while avoiding police investigating, detectives, security guards, other criminals, or nosy passers-by, or sometimes all of them. You cannot choose which cleaner you take on which missions, as the entire game is narrative based and they work individually. Also, you can sometimes call in help, which gives you another way out or another trying to dispose of bodies and severed limbs. Each cleaner is different, though how the Psycho can chop up bodies with a chainsaw and then throw the limbs at NPCs to knock them out. They will also pass out of if they catch them in the process of bloody dismembered. Then you can stick them in lockers or cubicles to keep them out the way. However, there is never enough space to dispose of all of them. Aaron is a hacker who can use her skills to remotely manipulate switches and noise sources, and can crawl through ventilation system. Later can vault over low barriers and leave graffiti on the floor that distracts police, and main guy Bob can wrap up bodies to avoid public suspicions. All the stealth is mostly well handled. Serial Cleaners is an incredible game. Gameplay is cleaned up using a vacuum cleaner, which each protagonist pulls out of thin air and which can even however blood from show. Also, you can drop bodies where and as long as you are not seen, the NPCs will barely spare a moment's thought for how compressed are moving around by themselves. Likewise, knock someone down or activate distractions, and they will only look for you for a little while before shrugging and carrying on. You can even commit your crimes of clean lines in plain view of anyone as long as you're outside the designated range of visions, and the difference between a cop hearing and vacuum blaring can be as little as an extra step to the right. Concessions have to be made for stealth games, of course, but Serial Cleaners pushes its like where immersions and realism are concerned. It's something of a shame that missions are so A to B while you can experiment with distractions techniques and such. There are not many different ways to approach each problem. In all cases, the idea is to take bodies, big avoidings and severed limbs to a disposal point, however up a continued amount of blood, and then leave. The difficulty comes in identifying a route to disposal and learning the various guard patrols. Once you have that information down, missions devolve into a bit of repetitions as you splat to end for often very slowly to get rid of everything. In fact, the pacing can be incredibly off-putting if you are spotted and cannot escape quick enough. You will restart at the checkpoint, usually the last time you dispose of something, and then it's back to waiting for patrols to align with your plans, which mostly involves sitting very still and watching you. Then the left trigger will activate your cleaner sense because of course it does, which allows you to see important elements on the map and the various guards. This allows a certain amount of forward planning, but it's super easy and super frustrating to run into a third guard you had not spotted because you were busy watching two other. You also cannot see up or down stairs, so you are always at risk of walking into something when changing levels narrative plays a big part in serial cleaners. Each of your characters has a backstory to explore, some much blacker than other, which slowly begin to paint a darkening picture of this life. Of crime, the writing and delivery are solid, and once you begin to understand some of the cleaners' motivation, it's easy to get quite invested. It's a good thing too, because without it, there'd be little reason to care about any of these cleaners at all. What serial cleaners likes is a sense of urgency, while laid-back styles is a subgenre of its own. It would be nice to be able to incapacitate guards with characters other than hell, even if only for a limited time, or when the police are looking for you. Music never shifts from lazy or lounge jazz, and so they say this is so good.